Hello students, my name is Dr. Alice Mani. I will be imparting lessons on Business Law, course 306. I am the resource person for Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education. I will be imparting lessons on business law. This is part of the BBA Rural Management course. This course is divided into 4 units. You will have 16 modules covering the syllabus. The 4 modules will be: the first module is an introductory chapter. Second chapter is various acts. The third is Sale of Goods Act, and the fourth and last chapter is Consumer Protection Act 2019. This unit, that is chapter 2, will be covered in 5 modules. The first module will look at the introduction to government contracts and Article 299. The second module will cover e-contracts or electronic contracts. The third module will cover the various provident funds and gratuity. The fourth module will cover Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, or short form is Fssai, and Employees Compensation Act 2010. The fifth and last module will cover the Goods and Services Tax or GST. We will cover one module of the second unit, which is Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, or Fssai, and Employees Compensation Act 2010 in this video. So let us go ahead and understand the topic in details. This lesson is an introduction to Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, or the abbreviation Fssai, and Employees Compensation Act 2010. I have already told you this. This module is structured to cover 4 broad areas. First, I will introduce the basic things about the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, or Fssai. Second, we will learn the functions of Fssai. Third, we will look into the reasons for the enactment of Fssai. Fourth, we will learn about the Employees Compensation Act 2010 and its features. So let us learn the topics one by one. At the end of this lesson, you will get the required information about the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, its functions, reasons for the enactment of Fssai, the Employee Compensation Act 2010 and its features. Can you tell me why we have to learn about food safety and standards? If you see Fssai website, the objective is clearly stated there. Can you tell me that? I will tell you, it's one nation, one food law. 3 objectives for setting up Fssai is also mentioned in the website. Firstly, to ensure globally benchmarked food standards and practices. Second objective is to ensure consistency in enforcement. Lastly, the third objective is to manage food testing with standardized food testing methods and protocols. Yes, you need a food license from Fssai to sell homemade food, but if it's on a small scale, only registration is required. Homemade food or hotel food, each and every food business operator or FBO is required to either register or get a food license. Obtaining registration or license depends upon the annual turnover of the food business operator. Now we know that many people are involved in this business. People prefer homemade food. Sometimes working people are either not interested or not having the time or patience to cook. So it's important that whether it is homemade food, hotel food, or food served at a party, it should be healthy. Now let us look at the need for Food Safety and Standards Act. Can you recollect some points from your imagination? Everybody likes food, and I am quite sure that you will get some points correct. Let me explain it for you. As the first objective, we can say that this act facilitates trade and make sure that there is no compromise on consumer safety. Second objective is that this act ensures high degree of consumer confidence and safety. Thirdly, this act removes multiple regulations for manufacture, sales and distribution of food articles. Fourthly, this act ensures and promotes innovation in food products. Fifthly, it will guide us and teach us about unhealthy eating habits. Like this, we can add many points as objectives of Food and Safety Standards Act. I am sure that some points I mentioned here are similar to what you thought of when I had asked you to think about the objectives of this act. Now, let us learn the topics in detail one by one. First, let us look at the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. Fssai was established in 2006 to oversee all food-related issues. The objective of setting up this authority is to bring uniform standards throughout the country to regulate manufacture, storage, distribution, sale, and import and export of food to ensure that it's good for human consumption. Fssai symbol in the food ensures quality and comes with central government regulated quality norms. Fssai is a statutory body established under the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. Fssai is an autonomous body and administered by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare with its headquarters at Delhi. The autonomous status will protect and promote public health through regulation and supervision of food safety. The President of India on 23rd August 2006 gave his approval to this act to combine all the laws related to food and to establish Food Safety and Standards Authority of India that will set the standards based on science for the food articles and will regulate the manufacture, storage, distribution, sale and import or export in order to make sure that safe and wholesome food is available for human consumption. It is also to deal with all matters connected with food. This act is called the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006 and this extends to entire of India. Numerous amendments were made to this act in 2018, 2019 and 2020 as per the changing circumstances. This ensures control and safety for the food we eat and we can trust that it's good for human consumption. Validity time for food safety and standard license is 1 to 5 years. Now you know that many are supplying homemade food. Homemade food selling is a good business for housewives who have to taste and who have a taste and interest for cooking. According to the Fssai rules, the homemade food selling operator has to apply 30 days prior to the expiry of license for renewal. Any Fssai renewal application filed exceeding the expiry date is needed to pay a late fee of rupees 100 per day for each day of delay. So it's essential for all home food selling operators to track and ensure that the Fssai license is valid at every time. This ensures quality, safety and healthy food good for human consumption. We should also look at the penalties for not registering and getting food safety and standards license. Those food business operators without license can get imprisonment and a fine up to rupees 5 lakhs or both. This shows the power of this act in controlling food business in our country. More importantly, if a person is selling substandard quality food items, he may be asked to pay a fine of rupees 5 lakhs. Either the food business operator himself or any person or persons working on his behalf will be held responsible. If any person, manufacturer, distributor or food business operator is selling unbranded food items, the fine will be up to 3 lakhs. Moreover, either the owner of the food establishment or the workers of the unit will be held responsible. Now you can imagine the power and control of this act in regulating food business in our country. Similarly, for all the entities selling, packing, storage, distributing or importing of food items containing extra or exotic substance, fine of rupees 1 lakh may be levied. Imagine death has occurred due to consumption of that particular food item. The penalty to the responsible food business operator may extend to rupees 5 lakh or even imprisonment depending upon the severity of the situation and how much harm has been caused. Now we can say that we are getting good food which is good for human consumption through these controls imposed by Food Safety and Standards Act. Moreover, we can trust the food available at a restaurant, cafeteria, food served at events and functions, sold at different outlets, etc. Now, what are the functions of FSSAI? We can divide the functions of FSSAI or the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India into two broad categories. Firstly, Scientific Committee and secondly, Central Advisory Committee. This is a perfect picture as one will look at the scientific aspects and the other will advise on matters related to food safety and standards. The Food Authority consists of a chairman and 22 members, out of which 7 ex officio members represent the ministries or departments of central government, that is Agriculture, Commerce, Consumer Affairs, Food Processing, Health, Legislative Affairs, Small Scale Industries. Then 2 representatives from food industry, 2 representatives from consumer organizations, 3 eminent food technologists or scientists, 5 members to represent the states and the union territories on rotation basis, 2 persons to represent farmers organizations and 1 person to represent retailers organizations. This shows how central government protects our interests when it comes to food related issues. We can see the organizational structure of Food Safety and Standards Authority of India now in detail. As already mentioned, FSSAI functions are divided into 2. What are the scientific roles of Scientific Committee and Advisory Committee? What are their specific roles? Scientific Committee will look into the matters related to good standards regarding food safety and quality. The Central Advisory Committee will look at the matters related to compliance and inspections. Now, let us understand the functions of FSSAI. The first function is to bring a comprehensive law in our country regarding food safety and quality. Second function is to ensure a single point reference system concerning food safety. Thirdly, to establish Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. Similarly, FSSAI ensures safe food practices. Also issues food safety license and certificates. FSSAI also has the power to monitor efficiently the functioning of food industries and to impose guidelines with regard to quality and safety measures to be followed. This ensures compliance via penalties and fines. We have already learned about the penalties for violation. FSSAI also has the power to collect food samples to check food contamination and adulteration. This will help the authorities to locate the emerging risk in food products and to invoice rapid alert system. Let us continue with the functions of FSSAI. The next function is to create an information network across the country about food safety and issues concerning food safety. The next function is to create a general awareness among people in the country about food safety and food standards. The next function is to lay down standards, mechanisms and guidelines for accreditation system for food business. Similarly, it's important to notify general public about the accredited laboratories and notify them. Hence, FSSAI also gives standards, procedures and guidelines for the accreditation of laboratories and notification of accredited laboratories. Similarly, FSSAI provides scientific advice and technical support to central and state governments in framing matters relating to food safety and nutrition. You might have noticed the green mark in the packaged food items. This is the symbol to certify that it is 100% vegetarian. It is worth mentioning how the new regulations or amendments will be made in the FSSAI standards and regulations from time to time. As the first step, the regulations and amendments will be placed before the scientific panels and scientific committee for their opinions or recommendation. Then the regulation will be approval by the food authority and draft notified after the previous approval of the central government. This draft notification is also notified to World Trade Organization member countries for their comments. Then a time period of normally 60 days is given for information of the persons likely to be affected thereby and sending the comments to the FSSAI. When the comments are received on the draft notification, comments are examined by the FSSAI. In case of divergent comments are received on the draft standards or regulations, it will be thoroughly reviewed by the FSSAI committee and the panel of experts. Then the final notification is published in the Gazette of India, giving date of effects of its implementation and simultaneously notified to World Trade Organization member countries for information and reference. Now you will get an idea how Food Safety and Standards Authority of India and state food authorities will regulate the food business in India. There are some more functions of FSSAI. Also, FSSAI locate the emerging risk in food products and invoice a rapid alert system. Similarly, to provide reliable information about food safety. FSSAI also arranges training programs related to food industry. Moreover, FSSAI contribute to the development of international technical standards of food safety and issues concerning food safety. Lastly, to promote general awareness about food safety standards. Now, let us see the reasons for the enactment of FSSAI. The lessons for the enactment of FSSAI law are the following. First, to bring a comprehensive law in the country concerning food safety. Secondly, to formulate a single reference system concerning food safety. Thirdly, to establish Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. Fourthly, to employ safe food practices. Fifthly, to monitor efficiently at the functioning of food industries and to impose guidelines. Let us continue with the reasons for enactment of FSSAI. The fifth reason is that to allot licenses for food businesses. This ensures quality, standards and government recognition as added attractions. This will create trust in the minds of common people. Finally, the sixth reason is that to ensure compliance via penalties and fines. Now, let us learn the last component of this module. This is the Employee Compensation Act 2010. This was earlier known as Workmen's Compensation Act 1923. Later, this act was amended to Employee Compensation Act in 2010. The objective of this act is to provide compensation to employees for death or to those who suffer total or partial disability while on duty. This act provides for the provision to get compensation if something happens to the employee at workplace, during working hours and while on duty. In such a situation, the employer has to pay the compensation based on the severity of damage caused. The payment of compensation by employer to employee is rooted in the accepted principle that the employer has a duty of care to protect the life of employees while on duty. It also calls for providing a safe workplace by the employer. These terms and conditions are signed by both the employer and employee at the time of signing the employment agreement. This act will also ensure a safe workplace for employees. At the same time, employer will also be cautious not to occur any accidents in the workplace. Our learning wouldn't be complete if we don't assess what we have learned. So here I am giving you 2 activities for you. As the first activity, make a mind map on the role of Fssai in regulating food business in India. Second activity is to find out a product which was removed from the market by Fssai or Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. Now, we have reached the end of this lesson. I hope that you have learned the meaning, importance, essential features of Fssai, functions of Fssai, its objectives, reasons for enactment of Fssai. I hope that you also got an insight about the Employee Compensation Act 2010. Hope that you got a good insight on the topics we discussed in this module. Now, we have covered from this chapter, that is chapter 2, various acts. We have covered government contracts and Article 299. Second module, we covered electronic contracts or e-contracts. Third module, we covered provident funds and gratuity. And fourth module is this module. We have covered Food Safety and Standards Authority of India and Employee Compensation Act 2010. So we have one more module left, that is Goods and Services Tax, that I will be covering in the next module to complete this chapter 2, that is various acts. Till we will meet again, thank you and bye.